From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Students at the University of Manitoba are planning an encampment next week to show solidarity with Palestinians. A group known as Students for Justice in Palestine says on social media that the encampment will take place from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. each day and is for students only. Among the group's demands is a call for the University of Manitoba to boycott Israeli institutions that it says are complicit in violations of human rights. It is just the latest in a number of similar demonstrations to spring up across North America. Meanwhile, south of the border, some of the anti-war demonstrations ceased this week at a small number of universities after school leaders struck deals with pro-Palestinian protesters, fending off possible disruptions of final exams and graduation ceremonies. New York University has managed to get the pro-Palestinian encampments off campus, but that doesn't mean the protests have ended. Reporter Stephanie Ramos is outside NYU.
Massive new protests just outside NYU. Hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters now gathering on the streets.
I think student movements historically have brought a lot of change.
Despite NYPD officers clearing tents, there are still protests in this area. Officers escorting the group to ensure the demonstration remains peaceful.
The movement began back on April 17th at Columbia University, where student protesters built an encampment to call for an end to the Israel-Hamas war. Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc has responded to the news that RCMP has arrested 3 men in the killing of BC Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said there's credible intelligence linking the June 2023 killing to the Indian government. Now, LeBlanc didn't mention those allegations, but he says Canada is a rule of law country and every Canadian has a fundamental right to live free of threats of violence. The suspects are all Indian nationals and are facing charges of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Out east now, where an outbreak of respiratory illness is sweeping through a long-term care facility on Prince Edward Island. Health PEI says the respiratory virus affecting Maplewood Manor is human metapneumovirus, which is in the same family as RSV. Officials say residents will be limited to visits from 3 partners in care total, and only 1 visitor is allowed at a time. Now, the visitors are going to be asked to follow infection control measures and not visit if they feel unwell. And finally, Mexican authorities say 3 bodies have been recovered in an area of Baja California near where 2 Australians and an American went missing last week. State prosecutors did not say whether the bodies were those of the foreigners, but it did say the bodies were discovered during a search for the missing men. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Vancouver Canucks are on to the second round of the NHL playoffs. After dropping a chance to win the opening round series on Tuesday, Pius Suter scored the winning goal with 1 minute and 39 seconds left to give the Canucks a 1-0 Game 6 victory to eliminate the Nashville Predators. Vancouver will now play the Edmonton Oilers. Noah Hannafin broke a scoreless tie at 9 minutes and 54 seconds of the third period, and Aiden Hill stopped 23 shots as the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights kept their season alive, beating the Dallas Stars 2-0, forcing a Game 7 in that series. The deciding game is set for Sunday in Dallas. Over to the NBA playoffs, Orlando beat Cleveland 103-96, tying that series at 3 games apiece, and Dallas beat the LA Clippers 114-101, winning the series 4-2. And the Toronto Blue Jays fall 9-3 to Washington. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.